Dragi ascultători, cu bucurie vă spun bine v-am regăsit! Mă numesc Daniela Cristea, sunt trainer de comunicare pentru copii și sunt gazda podcastului Cuvinte Potrivite. Aș vrea în primul rând să vă mulțumesc foarte mult pentru că ne urmăriți, pentru că ne dați subscribe și pentru că aveți încredere în noi. Vă invit în continuare să dați subscribe paginii de YouTube Cuvinte Potrivite, pentru că astfel ajungem să ajutăm comunitatea să crească, iar acest podcast și mesajele lui să ajungă la cât mai mulți oameni care încă nu știu de noi. Așa cum bine știți, am creat acest podcast cu un singur gând: să punem în scenă tematici de comunicare pe înțelesul tuturor. Îmi doresc ca acest podcast să crească, să fie ca o punte între oameni, unde comunicarea devine simplă, clară și plină de sens. Aici desfacem cuvintele grele, le așezăm frumos și le transformăm în mesaje care ajung direct la inimă. Pentru că în spatele fiecarei povești și idei stă puterea unei comunități autentice, iar noi vrem să o ducem accesibilă oricui, oriunde s-ar afla. Astăzi sunt în compania unei invitate speciale venite tocmai din străinătate. Așadar, în cele ce urmează voi face o introducere scurtă a invitatei mele, urmând să călătorim timp de o oră împreună în povestea ei profesională. Discuția noastră va fi în limba engleză, so I will switch to English right now. Today I'm in the company of a special guest who has come all the way from abroad, and I would like to tell you the story behind it all. Last year, I have embarked on an exciting initiative organized by EU Sparks team, and there I met Rozina, my guest here, around the same time as now, in June, at my first European Citizen Hackathon Championship in Climate Change topic here in Bucharest. Rozina, along with other professionals, mentored me during the prototype phase of the idea developed by the team I was part of. I wanted to invite Rozina to my podcast Cuvinte Potrivite because she's a person that I learned a lot from during the competition. And lessons there, since there I applied in my professional work. So today I would like to introduce Rozina, and I would like to meet Rozina, a dynamic leader at the intersection of strategy, innovation and design. With a rich background in business strategy, product management, user experience research and design, Rozina Sidhu brings over a decade of international experience across the UK, Scandinavia and Malta. From her early days as a management accountant in London's financial world to leading innovation programs in major Norwegian banks, Rozina has worked with global brands like Volvo, PricewaterhouseCoopers, and General Electric, and so on. She holds 2 master's degrees, one in management and another in interaction design. Today, she is the force behind The Garage, a startup dedicated to sustainable business growth, and she is pioneering the Women's Entrepreneurial Bootcamp in Malta, helping future female founders turn idea into thriving ventures. So let's dive into her story. Rozina, welcome to my podcast. I'm really glad to have you here. Your CV is truly impressive.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you. And I'm really, it's a pleasure to be here. And I'm really looking forward to getting into some of the questions.
Thank you very much again. Rozina, I love for our audience to get to know you through one other passion also, because until now I talked also only for your professional background. What do you enjoy doing so much that you never get bored?
Okay, so I do a few things. I never get bored. Firstly, I have 3 kids, and they're quite young, 10 and under. So I'm never getting bored there. They don't let me. I don't have a minute to myself sometimes, I find. So it's actually the other way around. I find it hard to take time. But other than that, I love playing padel, the racket sport, and I also like going stand-up paddling, the water sport. And obviously, I try and keep fit as much as possible. So Not as exciting, but I try and get in the gym 2-3 times a week. And I journal and listen to podcasts and spend a lot of time networking for the business as well. So yeah, I'm quite busy.
Very nice. You have a very healthy life and also a very educational life.
I try.
Very nice. So now I will smoothly enter professional life. So I'm curious to see what lies ahead. So as I said, your career spans between business strategy, user experience design, and innovation. How do those fields interact, and what is the common ground that drives your work?
Okay, so for me, I think when I look at innovation, business strategy, and UX, it's some people, you might see it as quite kind of worlds apart, but at the same time, there's one common thread that drives all of these. You know, business strategy is about long-term vision, understanding and strategizing how you're going to take your business from where you are today to where you want to be. UX design obviously involves the understanding the motivation and needs of your users, your end users, your customers, clients, and innovation is about driving change and having those crazy ideas and testing and improving your ideas. And the common thread would just for me would be kind of seen as human-centric problem solving. So we are solving problems in all those paradigms, and we are using a human-centric approach, which allows us to create, have a level of curiosity. And this curiosity is obviously underlined by some sort of purpose that's driving these paradigms, I call them. So there are synergies across the board, and they do meet in the middle for sure.
I saw that your career journey is fascinating. You starting in finance and evolving into the world of user experience and innovation and so on. What inspired you to make that transition? Was there a defining moment that set you on this path?
I think my defining moment must have been the time when I was traveling, to be honest. I went backpacking. There was a point at which I had enough of working in London. Sounds silly, I know, but you know, after a while it has its toll. Working in London, chasing the money, and not really enjoying what I was doing. I was working in a kind of accounting at the time. And I went traveling for a year to Central and South America, met my husband now. And there was a moment where I had got a lot of inspiration from him, and he was working in, he wanted to basically study more in design. And then I decided to basically go with that route and see what there was, because I wasn't really happy in what I was doing, and I wanted to work a lot more with people as well, and not just be in the background of doing the number crunching.
Oh, very nice. You love people very much, as I
Yes.
said. And coming up, I know that your international experience spans several countries and industry, also giving you a unique perspective on how different cultures shape work and innovation. With that in mind, how do you think culture influences innovation and business strategy?
Culture is important because people are integral to when we define business strategy, and obviously when it comes to innovation, because you need that innovative way of thinking for whether you're an entrepreneur or a corporate innovator and building innovation in your company, right? So for me, culture is very important because people are part of that system that we're evolving. And people are the backbone of creating innovation, creating the future thinking, future-proofing the companies that we're working in. And there are small nuances that obviously change depending on what culture you're working with. And I've seen these nuances, you know, working in London, people are much more very defined by deadlines. In Sweden, you have a little bit more leeway. You know, it's not so much that kind of American culture where deadlines are important, but then still they think forward, they plan, they spend a lot of time planning. And that's great. So if you want to work with innovation and you know that you have people that plan for the future, then they're more likely to work with creating this innovation in the company, right? Whereas in Norway, I found planning is probably, let me just say companies don't plan in the same way they do in Sweden. So there are definitely nuances which mean that innovation, business strategy, whatever it be, however you're working in your company, will unfold in different ways, depending on culture.
We all know that we face a lot of obstacles and setbacks in our careers, in our initiatives, our missions, and so on. I know that you run a very big project in this moment. It's about Women's Entrepreneurial Bootcamp in Malta, and I would like to speak up a little about this. And after that, after you will put here the mission of your project, please let us know, one or two or three, some of the biggest challenges women entrepreneurs face today, because you are in touch with women, and you know that.
Exactly. For me, I think I don't know if I'd boil it just down to women entrepreneurs, but I think entrepreneurs in general face a challenge to fail, not to be enough, not to feel that their idea is worthy enough. And we've kind of allowed at the garage during these boot camps, we've allowed women, because we're focusing on that segment of the market, to come in and feel that we're creating this sandbox environment, meaning they're allowed to fail, they're allowed to test their ideas, because if you don't fail, you won't know what's wrong. You will just kind of be under this misconception that everything works until you get it out to market, and then you're with a product that's not working, right? Because for whatever reason, someone doesn't like it. So we allow the failure to happen, and it's better it happens in a test bed, and in an environment which is evolving, than happen in the real environment, right? Where you're not, then failure will be seen as a more of a negative thing. So we don't see failure as negative, but I do see women doubting themselves. You know, there've been moments where they've had to pitch at the boot camp, and it's the first time they're sharing their idea. We've had to push them a little bit, but enough to build that confidence. There's a fine line, you know, between pushing too much and not pushing enough. So we've pushed them enough to build the confidence for them to then realize and reflect that actually, no, I can do this. Because it's about receiving feedback. It's not about getting it right the first time in the space that we're creating. So that would be the biggest challenge I see in these entrepreneurs.
Yes. Also, this situation happens in Romania, and I was there. I consider myself not enough for that project, for that experience, for that training and so on. And yes, it hurts a lot. I know that. Yes. And thank you very much, because you put this on the table, and you touch this point in this podcast, because I know that a lot of women is watching, and it's very important to hear the perspective from your side, from
because at the end of the day, what's the worst that's going to happen? You know, you'll get it wrong, and someone will tell you, and then you'll be able to improve it again. I don't agree with if someone comes to me and says, oh, I made it and I got to where I am, and I didn't fail. and I'm doing great. I'm really successful. Whatever success means to you, whether it's making loads of money, whether it means that you have more free time, whatever. I don't believe someone coming to me and saying that they got to where they did without any pitfalls, because that does not exist. Like I said, be it man, woman, whatever, it doesn't exist. You can't, you don't know what to avoid if everything is going to just work for you. You wouldn't know where the pitfalls would be, because if it works today, guaranteed it will stop working if you haven't failed along the way before this. Yes,
that's true. This is growth mindset, as Carol Dweck is saying. So in this manner, you helped many corporate teams take their ideas from concept to reality, turning innovation into tangible business results. So what do you think are the key ingredients that help teams transform ideas into actionable strategies? And if you have any success stories you'd like to share to us.
Yes, I would say there are kind of a few main things, right? There's many things, but I'd like to focus on a few. And I think the key, a lot of the time people run to the solution. They don't understand what their problem is, but they think they have a solution that everyone wants to have, right? I don't believe in that way of approaching business. If you have an idea, yes, it might be a great idea, but if there's no problem, if there's no market, if you can't empathize with your users and create a clear problem statement, then there's no solution in my mind. So understand your problem first, really understand your problem, empathize with your users, understand their motivations as to why you are overcoming this problem and what solution you are using to overcome this specific problem. And what I touched on earlier about, failing fast, learning fast, understanding where you went wrong, failing again, then learning from that failure, understanding where you went wrong, actually retrospectively looking at how you could have done things differently. This, for me, is very important as well. And that's the environment we create at the garage and when we build on innovation. And this is called a validation loop. So the validation happens from actually trying and testing with your actual users and not just assuming that something is going to work. So building, testing, failing at something, having come back, somebody gives you some new feedback, you come back and you incorporate that into your product or service, and then you go again. So that's really, really important. Thirdly, I think if you are building something, not as an entrepreneur, but as an innovator inside your company, we can have the greatest ideas, but we sometimes forget that there are levels at which these ideas need to be pushed upwards or downwards or sideways or whatever you say. So you need management buy-in, right? You're not going to get your idea pushed through if you don't know who you should be speaking to, at what point you should be introducing this, and how you should be pitching this. So for me, this is really, really, really important as well. I can take a success story of my own, my personal success story actually, which allowed me to, the garage started as an innovation hub inside a company that I used to work in Norway. And here, we created the whole, what should you say, the way of working, the simulation of people coming in, bringing their ideas, us running through how these ideas work, having specific criteria, validating these ideas with our end users, then testing these ideas, etc. We had a whole marketing plan around this. We had set up meetings on calendars. So this was running inside a company, although it was a personal initiative. So it wasn't a company initiative, but we had to get some buy-in from management. So we pitched this to to different groups of managers and different individuals, and we were able to run with this initiative, which was amazing. And then basically I brought this way of working and this initiative and created my own company at the end.
It came into my mind that balancing creativity with solid business logic is crucial when developing strategies that really work. And in this way, I would like to ask you, how do you navigate that balance, creativity with logic, solid business logic, when you are working on strategic ideation and business modeling?
So, when you think about ideation, you think, okay, it's a little bit fluffy, it's a little bit abstract.
Yes, philosophical. Yes.
Exactly. When you think about business modeling, it's a lot more, like you said, logical, strategic. We have a plan. We know what we're working towards. We have goals, we have KPIs, etc., etc. Now, I don't think you can get to you can do what you think is right? Like in the business world, right? Which is what everybody else is doing, and you have benchmarks, you have processes. But then you can also do something more abstract, which allows us to think creatively, which is then going to help us drive our business logic at some point, right? So the way we work using a double diamond approach in design thinking allows you to do the convergence and divergence, and allows you to align your more curious, ideating, abstractual mindset to the more logical business strategy thinking. So we tend to, do the ideation, and that diverges our thinking and helps us become more abstract. But then we kind of bring it back to and converge and bring it back to the business logic, and setting how and allowing the ideas to then filter through to something much more tangible. So I believe you have to do this to allow yourself to come up with interesting initiatives and ideas and think a little bit outside of the box. And if you don't allow yourself to do that, I think it's really, really hard to create innovation, in my mind.
Yes, indeed, because innovation also means that you let yourself to build on the others' ideas and so on, and your ideas and others' ideas and so on. And I learned that also in my previous jobs, when I have a fear of fail, of make it wrong, and this is very, very important to let you be there and be out of the box, as you said. Another word in nowadays is community. Community building has become a powerful force in driving innovation, business strategies, especially with startups.
Yes.
From your experience, what role does community building play in fostering innovation?
For me, it's a huge role. The way we've started creating kind of with our B2B service, of going into companies, working with companies, building innovation, whether it be through innovation hubs or much more strategic things like streamlining processes for them. We started from our community, right? We started on a B2C, and the community was driven through these boot camps. So we started with doing these business boot camps, and that basically allowed us to bring people together from different backgrounds, different mentor, there might be mentors, coaches, leaders, whatever they be. They've helped us bring this kind of innovation alive. And I don't believe it's something you do on your own. I've been working for 20 odd years with bringing people together, collaborating, having people on a table from different backgrounds, be it marketing, business strategy, user experience design, development. You know, we've always worked with these multidisciplinary groups of people. And I then wanted to bring this way of thinking into our business boot camps. So we've, brought collaborators. That's what we call them. There are collaborators. They come and they have their specific expertise, and they have helped in building this platform and keeping the innovation alive. So that's, for me, where the interesting conversations happen. People come with different ideas. Sometimes I feel in a company, let's do that. Let's bring people, no matter what level they're at, because that for me doesn't define intelligence. If you're a head of product, or you're a product manager, or you're a, admin clerk, your title doesn't define your intelligence. Ideas can come from everywhere, and different perspectives come from everywhere. We need to bring them together, and we need to create alignment. So it's very important for me.
Yes, thank you very much for saying that. It's very, very important, because if we can borrow this in our culture and bring this mindset here in Romania, maybe, and in other countries, not also in Romania, but worldwide, I think would be better, and we'll succeed more, and we'll have this free will to do more things and to be free to do them. Yes, because our constraints are very big. Yes. So thank you very much for mentioning this. Thank you very much.
No worries.
So you spoke a lot of people. You put people in center of your, let's say, work. But there are a lot of emerging technologies like AR, physical computing, that are rapidly transforming how businesses engage with customer. Rozina, how do you see those technologies shaping the future of customer experience?
I would say the biggest thing when it comes to physical computing and AR, all these things. I mean, I've used AR, right? Virtual reality.
Yes.
And for me, the immersion that I felt in this experience it's mind blowing, right? Because your kind of head is telling you something, but your emotions are telling you something else, right? So no matter what, you might be feeling scared, right? Say at one point I was skiing down a ski slope, going really, really fast. And I kept trying to tell myself, this isn't real, this isn't real, this isn't real. But my emotions kept taking over, and the fear was still there. Yeah. So I think what this can do is beyond, it's unfathomable. For me, I can't even, right now, I can't see at the extent at which it would go to that would help us with creating such immersion and connectedness that it would push us forward God knows how many levels, right? What I'm trying to say is there's so much space there. There's so much that we don't know. And it's super exciting, but then it's scary at the same time. But just to know that the type of emotions that are accelerated during these experiences, for me, makes me think, God, the connectedness and the interactivity and that kind of emotional connection that it will, basically the emotional connection that it can create on a more kind of through that sensory lasting way will be amazing, because that's going to help in elevating your brand, understanding your customers more, not having to assume validation of the needs of your customers through this connected experience will be amazing. I think it will, I can only think it'd be a great thing.
Yes.
In shaping the future.
Yes.
Yeah.
The future. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. When you were speaking, I was thinking how innovation and returning to innovation also, because I have also a question in my mind. Innovation can be challenging to nurture with our teams, especially for leaders guiding the way. What's one key piece of advice you always share with leaders aiming to foster innovation? One key piece of advice, if there is a general advice.
I would say to be open, to be transparent, bring people from different teams, positions together, and trust the process. And you have to, when I say open, I mean giving the accountability and responsibility to people and create that culture. You create a culture through creating the openness and the transparency. And that trust comes from giving people the autonomy to do what they can. Obviously, there needs to be some boundaries and rules and directions in place, but giving people room to feel that responsibility is really, really important to drive innovation.
To have ownership.
Yes.
And also to be like self leadership, not only to let's say have a boss and a manager that say you need to do that, you need to do this, and so on. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, some people work okay with that. Don't get me wrong. Some people do, but that's not, for me, that's not going to drive innovation. You can't, people need to work like they own, it's their product, it's their service. They basically, and that's what we talk about, bringing the entrepreneurial mindset into the company, become the corporate innovators, lead, come up with initiatives. And okay, you might come up with something and someone might not like it, but then that someone doesn't like it, but at least try.
Yes. Yes, at least try. Exactly. Try. Not only think that you can or not, you can.
Exactly.
As we look to the future, business innovation continues to evolve at a rapid pace. Rozina, from your perspective, what are the most exciting trends in innovation that we should be keeping an eye on in this moment?
I think for us to stay agile and to keep up with the trends, benchmark ourselves and stay ahead of competitors. I really believe that we need to, like what we touched upon before, taking that innovation, corporate innovative kind of mindset approach, building that approach, creating that ownership. And that's going to happen through creating kind of this venture building inside companies, right? So internal venture studios, incubating these ideas, outside of your core business and actually helping grow the business from for me, that's really, really important. And I think that is a trend that will be coming up, where people are doing things internally, but thinking outside of the box. And officially doing it, creating this. And also, I mean, the way that we're working now, the flexible way of working, our talent and the way talent and work design is changing as well. So, we're working with more fractional teams, talent marketplaces, flexible structures, etc. So I think this is, I don't think it's all about product anymore. I think we're moving towards how people will come together, creating the right culture. And we have been for a long time, but I think it's becoming really more and more important every day. we want to unlock diversity in terms of ideas. We want to try and create resilience. And we can do that, even working in a 9 to 5 inside a company. You know, we can become the innovators and we can become the entrepreneurs inside our companies.
Yes. So not only to speak up about this, it's important to do something, to action, to move, try. This is my message that I have inside after you spoke. So we are approaching the end of the podcast. Here's a question I ask all my guests. It's very simple, Rozina, you know. I do not put complicated questions to my guests. From your experience also, how can we use words? Because the podcast is titled Cuvinte Potrivite, the right words. How can we use words to inspire, to connect and motivate people?
How can we use words?
Yes.
You mean which words or
words in general? I don't know, the way you speak, the way you promote you, the way you pitch. I don't know.
I think we can use words in a way that elevates us, right? As individuals, we need to be very mindful of the way in which we speak. This goes to Buddhism. You know, I know my husband's really into Buddhism, but it goes to that kind of understanding of when you speak, when you eat, when you walk, when you're present. Really think about how you come across. Think about how you are amplifying yourself. What do you want to be known as? You know, when you leave one day. But the point being, okay, that's getting really deep. But the point being, if we stay on the kind of business line, words are important because people are going to you represent yourself. You are your own brand, right? And people that will stick with you. So when you meet someone for the first time, you need to think about the kind of impression you're leaving them with. So, and if you are positive about yourself and what you can do, right, then you will excel a positive attitude towards other people, and you will attract people that want to be in your circle as well. So.
Are you agree with the fact that men make the impression in 5 seconds, or the impression can change over time? What do you think about that? Comes to my mind.
For me, it's not, again, I say it's not about men, women. I think people generally, I mean, even without wanting to make judgments, people generally do judge, right? So the first impression is really, really, really important. And that's why you have your elevator pitch, etc., etc. You know, you need to make that good first impression. But I mean, I had a conversation yesterday with the lady that I met for the first time. Actually, second time, but first time was a social meeting with a lot of other people, and we had a face-to-face meeting yesterday. And you know, we sat there talking for like 2 hours. We did not even look at our phone because the conversation was amazing.
Yes.
And we connected. And for me, that was not a 5-second conversation. You know, that took 2 hours for us to really feel that this is the kind of person I could do business with. And for me, that's becoming the quality of just speaking to one person in 2 hours. It's so much more important than speaking to 5, 6, 7 people in that time. So creating impression, it's personal, right? It's different for everybody. And it's like you say, in the eye of the beholder. So I could create a great impression with someone, but with another person, I might not. So it really, and it might take longer. So it's all about the dynamics of two personalities coming together, I would say. It's not as easy as saying it takes 5 seconds.
That's right. Thank you very much that you share your stories with the person you spoke yesterday. And the last question, and I leave you, where can people reach you?
Okay,
so your projects, your channels, your social channels, and so on. If you have a website, I will write also on YouTube. But please,
yes, please. So we have our website, the-garage.co. But then we're on LinkedIn. The garage is on LinkedIn, and then also if you ping me directly on my personal LinkedIn, I'll respond straight away. We have an Instagram account as well. So yeah, we're quite out there on different social medias. But LinkedIn would be the most active. Yes.
It's more professional and.
Yes, and you can get me easier as well, because you can just kind of ping me on chat. Whereas email, I think, sometimes takes a bit longer to respond, but my LinkedIn is always open. So you're more than welcome to send me any questions, queries, whatever you have, and I'll make time for you.
Yes. I invite also the people here to address questions to you, Rozina, and if there will be also on the channel Cuvinte Potrivite, I will share with you and then come back to the answers. So, Rozina, it was a wonderful time. Thank you so much for being here and giving us a glimpse into your inspiring journey. It's been a real pleasure for me because you were here. Wishing you all the best going forward with the bootcamp, with the projects, and so on.
Thank you.
You are truly an inspiration for me and also for us.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Daniela. Thank you for your time. It's been wonderful. And good luck. Good luck with everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I will switch also in Romania for 2 minutes. Iar vouă tuturor vă mulțumesc tare mult pentru că ne-ați urmărit din inimă. Încă o dată rămâneți alături de noi pe canalul de YouTube Cuvinte Potrivite. Oferiți-ne votul vostru acolo, un subscribe, pentru că ne ajută să creștem comunitatea, așa cum v-am spus. Vă invit de asemenea să adresați întrebările voastre invitatei mele, Rozina, pe canalul de YouTube Cuvinte Potrivite, pentru că ele vor ajunge la Rozina și veți primi cu adevărat răspunsuri. Totodată vă aștept și cu feedback sau cu idei de teme și de invitați. Până data viitoare, alegeți-vă cuvintele cu înțelepciune. Bye bye, la revedere!
Thank you.